Good evening. Just wanted to sort of make an addendum to I sent a video earlier, obviously earlier today, but it struck me that I was kind of jumping all over the map a little bit. But I mentioned in a previous video about the water and the frequency retention of water, and some of the things that I'm learning is about sort of our place among the consciousness. The thing is that when you begin to go into this kind of sort of research, when you begin to start to uncover things, it's easy to look at some of this stuff and just say, man, that's absolutely ridiculous. But it's because we've been programmed to think that way. We've been led to believe that it's that reptilian entities that are here, it's impossible, it's ridiculous, it's and that's the way we've been programmed. That's the way our parents were programmed. That's the way their parents were programmed. Gandhi said once that even in a minority of one, the truth is still the truth. And he said the truth does not, a lie does not become the truth just because people believe it. And David Icke made the point of saying that, in order to define what is possible, you set the boundaries on what is impossible. So in other words, if you sort of set the parameters on what is impossible, then you can sort of define what is possible. Because then people begin to think, oh, that's just not possible. And imagine if we were taught to believe that anything is possible. Well, then that would mean that nothing would be impossible. And so I say this because a lot of the things that I'm discovering and some of the information or some of the things that I'm putting forth in my videos, people are going to look at it and say, you know what, this dude is just a whack job. That's impossible. There's no way. And I don't know if that's coming through, but I'm getting a notification. But what I'm learning is that our existence is nothing like what we've been led to believe. We've been led to believe that we were created by God and that, Jesus was his son. And, we have these little books that are really just literature. And literature can mean fiction or nonfiction. And so we've been forced to define our existence into the little parameter of these, ancient religious texts, these works of literature. So we've been taught to believe whether you're Jewish or Christian or Muslim or Buddhist or Hindu or, Taoist or whatever, it's anything outside of those beliefs is impossible. And so I mention all this because we have to we have to change our paradigm. We have to change our parameters. We have to change our thinking, because nothing is impossible. Everything is possible. It's been proven. And sorry, that's another, I don't know if that's coming through, another notification, but we haven't been taught who we truly are, and through quantum physics and relativity, and we are actually created or made of vibrational energy. When you think something is solid, it's really not solid. It's just that particular item is resonating at a particular frequency, and you are not resonating at that same frequency, and so that's why you can't pass through it. But if you resonated at the same frequency as your tabletop, then your hand would go right through it. And so I mention this because, being that we are frequency resonance, we have the ability, just by resonating, to change reality. Now, I don't say that like, you're a superhero and your power is, you can alter reality. But in a sense, that is kind of what I'm saying. It's not like it's going to manifest a change to where you can alter, if you're financially struggling, if you're struggling with employment, it's not like it's going to manifest a change. It's not like the replicator on Star Trek, where you just, put the energy out there and that's what you get. But collectively, we can alter reality. There's documented proof that during a conflict over in the Middle East, where there were these particularly intense bombing raids and bombing runs, and there was several thousand people gathered together and began to meditate together, a collective meditation, and almost instantaneously the bombing stopped and didn't resume until after, well after the meditation. Now, a lot of people would say that's just coincidence. However, if you keep in mind that anything is possible, all right, nothing is impossible. So, because we are made up of this vibrational frequency energy, we have the ability to resonate our thoughts through meditation. And so in a previous video, I had mentioned about water and the frequency retention of water. And so now when you start to consider this, all right, you've got the chemtrails that they're pumping that help with the conductivity of the atmosphere. You've got the Gwen towers that are pumping the low frequency vibration, which low frequency vibrations are like all of your, your negative thoughts, the hatred, the racial tensions, the jealousy, the rage, the envy. All these things are negative, low frequency vibrational energy. And when you consider the high frequency vibrations, that's the love energy, that's your giving, your sharing, your empathy. And so what they do with the chemtrails, the Gwen towers, they're pumping this information, and our planet is 70% water, and we are 70% water. Or better, depending on who you ask. But now, if you take a drop out of the ocean, it just becomes a drop. However, if you return it, it then becomes the ocean. And so what I'm getting at is the Japanese scientist who did the studies on water and frequency retention and discovered that each individual, by talking to their particular portion of water, each individual created a different crystalline structure when that water was frozen. And because this Japanese scientist has equipment that will photograph at a microscopic level the water as it freezes, and he can photograph the crystalline structure as it freezes. And so he found that each individual made a different crystalline structure. Different music made different structures. Even labeling the bottles of water and letting them sit, the crystalline structure. So even writing has a vibrational frequency, and everything is made up of a vibrational frequency. And so I mentioned about this scientist with the water because if you think about it, and if you're conscious of it, when you're taking a shower, when you're taking a bath, anytime you're using water or you've got water, on you or near you, if you're swimming, anything that returns to the collective basin, you can actually radiate or resonate your positive energy into that water and try to negate some of the negative that they're putting into the water through the chemtrails and the Gwen towers. And so if you can resonate, if you consciously think about it while you're standing there in the shower and the water is running over you, if you try to think positively and send out the high frequency energies, the love energies, the empathy, the caring, that will actually, that water will have that frequency retention. And as that returns to the collection point, well, if all of us are positively charging the water, then we can counteract the negative charges that they're putting into the water through the fluoride, through the chemtrails, through the Gwen towers. So I wanted to kind of clarify the importance. That's one of the main important reasons that the reptilians are on this planet, or that entities around the universe come to this planet, is because of water. And so when you're in the shower, when you're in the bath, when you're in the lake or the stream or the ocean, if you can send your positive charge into the collective water, then that water is going to retain that frequency vibration. And we might just have a chance to counteract what the controllers of the Illuminati, the controllers of this world, are trying to do to us. So I wanted to clarify that because I realized I was bouncing around, but it all comes back to a vibrational frequency. Before you entered into the body you're in, you were infinite awareness, and you were aware that you made the choice to be here at this particular time in all of the dimensional existence in the space-time continuum. You chose to be here at this particular time, and that is because you know that you have the power to change. You have the power to affect the universe in a positive way. So when you're under that water, or you're under that shower, or you're under that waterfall, just think love and positive. And if we all do it together, we'll be able to win. So thank you for your time, and good evening.